Hiya 10, this next video is on the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is another method that will always work to solve quadratic equations. And what it is if we have our quadratic equation, so ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then we have this rule, x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Now this formula, you don't need to remember it, even though a lot of people do because it just ends up being stuck in your brain. But this formula will be on an IB formula sheet, so you always have it, which is why this method is really good to know how to use, because you do get given this formula in your exams. There are also plenty of songs and things out there that people have made. Go on YouTube, a quadratic formula song, and you'll find one that comes up if you do want to try and remember it. So we're just going to do a few questions just to show how it works, but it's really simple. It's just substituting in. And once again, the only thing that will mess you up with this is your negatives. So first one, we've got x squared minus 2x minus 2 equals 0. So for some of you, what you might prefer to do is, first of all, to write out what a, b and c are. So a is the number in front of the x squared, which will be 1. B, the number in front of the single x, so that's minus 2. And c is a number at the end, which is also minus 2. And then we just substitute it into the formula. So we'll have x equals, so first of all we've got minus b, so we're going to have minus, and then we've got a minus 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so it's going to be minus 2 squared minus 4 times by a, which is 1, times by c, which is negative 2. And that will all be divided by 2 times a, so 2 times 1. So as long as you put your values in the right spots, you're fine. Any negatives, put them in brackets, because that means you'll hopefully not make any mistakes. Then we just start working it out. So we've got minus minus 2, which will just be plus positive 2, plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared is 4. Then minus 4 times 1 times negative 2, which will give us plus 8. And that will all be divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. And then we can just work that out. So we'll have 2 plus or minus the square root of 12 divided by 2. Now 12, we can't solve that, but you should remember that we can simplify it, which will be 2 plus or minus. Now remember to simplify. 2 numbers that multiply to get 12, and one of them has to be a perfect square, which would be 4 and 3. You don't need to do this step here. I've just done that as a reminder of simplifying surds, which means we'll get 2 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 2. Now, fractions, remember, we can only simplify it if everything has that factor in it. And you'll see here, we can divide every single one of these parts by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, plus or minus 2 divided by 2, 2 root 3 divided by 2, which will give us root 3. And then the 2 on the bottom will just be 1, so we don't need to write it. So our solution to this one is 1 plus or minus root 3. And remember, if we wanted to, we can split it so x would equal 1 plus root 3, or x would equal 1 minus root 3. So remember our two solutions. Now b, we've got 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. Same idea. A is the number in front of the x squared. B is in front of the x. And c is the number on its own. And then we just sub into the formula. So x equals minus b, so it's going to be minus 3, plus or minus, let me scroll up so you've got the formula there, the square root of b squared, so that would be 3 squared minus 4 times a, which is 2, times by c, which is negative 4. All divided by 2 times a, which would be 2 times 2. Simplify, so minus 3 plus or minus 3 squared, which is 9, minus 4 times by 2 will give us minus 8, times by minus 4 will give us plus 32. And all divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. And so we'll have minus 3 plus or minus 9 plus 32 is 41. So we square root of 41 divided by 4. Now we can't do anything with the square root of 41, so we're just going to leave our answer like that. So it'll be minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 41 on 4. and we can't simplify any of common factors either. That's that for this video. So it's really simple, just substituting once you have your values of A, B and C, and then just be really methodical and be careful of your negatives.